Hari Hari Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hari Hari Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hari Hari Hare Krishna 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 Hari Hari Hare Rama 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 Hari Hari Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna. It's time for a Kṛṣṇa break. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. You know, a little time out from all the struggling to hold everything together and to fix everything. Yeah, just time out. So I'm going to read a little bit about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, how he is manifested pastimes so that we can get a little bit of a glimpse into the personality of the Supreme Being, appeared 5,000 years ago, recorded history. In a summary study of the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Where would we be without Prabhupada? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. There's no telling. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's an illustration of what it's like trying to survive in the material atmosphere. It's like building a raft on an ocean in the middle of a hurricane. Fix one thing and then something else needs fixing, and there's this problem with health, or there's that problem with legal, or there's some problem in a personal relationship, or it just goes on and on and on. And so it's really important to take a break, a Kṛṣṇa break. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna. Hello, Lance. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hari Hari, Hari Rama, Rama Rama, Hari Hari, Hari Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hari Hari, Hari Rama, Rama Rama, Hari Hari, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hari Hari, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hari Hari, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hari Hari. Yeah, it's really amazing how this happens all the time. I think they call it serendipity, or there's another word they use now, when there's like a correlation. Like, for instance, I might be thinking about something and really taking a good look at it, and then within a very short time, that same, this is very in great detail, not some generalization, but a very some detail, and then there it is over here being discussed. And it kind of confirms. that's what the scriptures really do too, is they confirm what we experience. It's a confirmation. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. That's why we recognize it as the truth, is because we're experiencing it. And then, oh, there it is, discussed. Look at that. So we know there's a truth there. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. So I was experiencing some certain amount of anger, a lot amount of anger, that I needed to kind of get a grasp on, like, why was I so angry in a relationship with a person, friend, just a friend, but there was something there, their behavior or something, not even toward me, but that made me angry to see them acting like that. I became very angry. I became so furious. And so I had to kind of analyze that. Why? Why was I so angry? That's who they are, they're doing like that. And then I saw, well, in a relationship there are emotions. There's friendship, it can be anger, and it's an emotion, and there's no loving relationship without emotions. So I saw that, and the impersonalists don't like that. They don't want to feel anything. They want to be just like, nothing. But that's missing the whole truth, because everything is in the whole truth. It just has to be in relationship, proper perspective, that's all. It's all there. There's no question of denying anything, just in its proper, not proper, but not out of place or misunderstood, or seen in the true nature of things. So anger also is part of devotional life, because we have that Lord Nrsingadev form of Kṛṣṇa, and we see him get quite angry. But anger is there in a relationship. If there's love, you get angry sometimes. So I can understand, that, all right, so that's because I actually care about the person. That's why I got angry, because I actually care about them. So, okay, that's my thing. I got angry. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But then, that was during the day. Then in the evening, I attended an online session, and that very topic came up. Exactly. The exact topic. It was in relationship to Lord Ramachandra. When Sita was stolen, he became so angry that his eyes was burning. I think was it Ramachandra? Somebody was boiling the ocean when they stared at it, because they were so angry, and all the little fish and everything were in great distress because of the anger. But that was devotional anger. But that kind of thing, that kind of serendipity, that happens a lot. I'm surprised, but I'm not even really surprised. So I asked the person that was conducting the session, I said, why is it that happens? And then they discussed a number of reasons. But I know why. It's Kṛṣṇa. It's Kṛṣṇa. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. But they were pretty good in what they said. This is because these aren't, we was reading the Bhagavatam, they're not ordinary books. It's a living reality. So it's not surprising that it coincides with what we're experiencing. But for me, that was okay. That's a good answer. But there's more to it than that, because there's so much in the Bhagavatam, and there's so much that we experience. Why would it be that exact detail. That exact thing, down to the minutest detail, with the same conclusion. That's the difference between the spiritualist and the impersonalist. The personalist and the impersonalist. So it was okay, he came close. But it's not just that because they're alive. Kṛṣṇa is the holy name. Kṛṣṇa is the Bhagavatam. Kṛṣṇa. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so let's meet Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa's here. He's right here. Hello, Radha and Kṛṣṇa. You're right here. So, let's visit. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. This is chapter 44. Kṛṣṇa recovers the son of his teacher. When Lord Kṛṣṇa saw that Vasudeva and Devaki were remaining standing in a reverential attitude. This was Kṛṣṇa and Balaram, they fought the wrestlers and killed them, and now Kṛṣṇa has killed Kamsa and Kamsa's 8 brothers who didn't like Kamsa being killed, so Kṛṣṇa killed all of them too, Kṛṣṇa and Balaram. And everyone is relieved, so greatly relieved, that Kamsa has been removed. And Kṛṣṇa's mother and father, Vasudeva and Devaki, they offered Kṛṣṇa prayers, but they were conscious of Kṛṣṇa's exalted position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so although he was their son, they really couldn't embrace him. Kṛṣṇa touched their feet, it says here. Kṛṣṇa touched the feet of his father and mother, but they couldn't embrace him because they were in too much awe and reverence. They stood there hearing what the Supreme Personality of Godhead was going to say. So it was a very kind of official relationship. It was very different from Vrindavan. Although Kṛṣṇa was born as their son, Vasudeva and Devaki were always conscious of his position, his exalted position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, this new chapter, when Lord Kṛṣṇa saw that Vasudeva and Devaki were remaining standing in a reverential attitude, he immediately expanded his influence of Yogamaya so that they could treat him and Balaram as children. As in the material world, the relationship existing between father and mother and children can be established amongst different living entities by the influence of the illusory energy. So, by the influence of Yogamaya, the devotee can establish a relationship in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead is his children. Wow, that's really interesting. It's all illusion. In the material world, people are all in illusion, thinking this person is my child, and the child thinking this person's my mother or father. It's illusory, based on temporary forms. But, he says, by the influence of Yogamaya, the devotee can establish a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his child. So that same kind of illusion is there, but in relationship to God, Kṛṣṇa. That's recommended. After creating this situation by his Yogamaya, Kṛṣṇa appearing with his elder brother Balaram as the most illustrious sons in the dynasty of the Sattvatas, very submissively and respectfully addressed Vasudeva and Devaki. My dear father and mother, although you have always been very anxious for the protection of our lives, you could not enjoy the pleasure of having us as your babies, as your growing boys, and as your adolescent youths. Kṛṣṇa, indirectly praised the fatherhood of Nanda Maharaj and the motherhood of Yasoda as most glorious, because although he and Balaram were not their born sons, Nanda and Yasoda actually enjoyed their childhood pastimes. By nature's own arrangement, the childhood of the embodied living being is enjoyed by the parents. Even in the animal kingdom, the parents are found to be affectionate to the cubs. Being captivated by the activities of their children, they take much care for their well-being. As for Vasudeva and Devaki, they were always very anxious for the protection of their sons, Kṛṣṇa and Balaram. That is why Kṛṣṇa, after his appearance, was immediately transferred to another's house. Balaram was also transferred from Devaki's womb to Rohini's womb. Devaki and Vasudeva and Devaki were full of anxieties for Kṛṣṇa's and Balaram's protection, and they could not enjoy their childhood pastimes. Kṛṣṇa said, "Unfortunately, being ordered by our fate, we could not be raised by our own parents to enjoy childhood pleasures at home. My dear father and mother, a man has a debt to pay to his parents, from whom he gets this body, which can bestow upon him all the benefits of material existence. According to the Vedic injunction, this human form of life enables one to perform all kinds of religious activities, fulfill all kinds of desires, and acquire all kinds of wealth. And only in this human form is there every possibility that one can get liberation from material existence. This body is produced by the combined efforts of the father and mother. Every human being should be obliged to his parents and understand that he cannot repay his debt to them. If, after growing up, a son does not try to satisfy his parents by his actions or by an endowment of riches, he is surely punished after death by the superintendent of death and made to eat his own flesh. If a person is able to care for or give protection to all parents, children, the spiritual master, Brahmins, or other dependents, but does not do so, he is considered to be already dead, although he is supposedly breathing. My dear father and mother, you have always been very anxious for our protection, but unfortunately we cannot render any service unto you. Up to date, we have simply wasted our time. We could not serve you for reasons beyond our control. Mother and father, please excuse us for our sinful action." When the Supreme Personality of Godhead was speaking as an innocent boy in very sweet words, both Vasudeva and Devaki became captivated by parental affection and embraced them with great pleasure. They were amazed and could not speak or answer the words of Kṛṣṇa, but simply embraced him. And Balaram, embraced him and Balaram, in great affection and remained silent, shedding incessant tears. Wow, what a touching scene. Wow. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa arranges these pastimes. He's the source of all pleasure. He arranges all of this for the pleasure of his devotees, for his pleasure. Thus consoling his father and mother. It's like a drama. Thus consoling his father and mother, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appearing as the beloved son of Devaki, approached his grandfather, Ugrasen, and announced that Ugrasen would now be the king of the Yadu kingdom. Kamsa had been forcibly ruling over the kingdom of Yadu in spite of the presence of his father, whom he had arrested. But after the death of Kamsa, Kamsa's father was released and announced to be the king of the Yadu kingdom. It appears that in those days, in the western part of India, there were many small kingdoms, and they were ruled by the Yadu dynasty, Andhika dynasty, Vrishni dynasty, and Bhoja dynasty. Maharaj Ugrasen belonged to the Bhoja dynasty. Therefore, Kṛṣṇa indirectly declared that the king of the Bhoja dynasty would be emperor of the other small kingdoms. He willingly asked Maharaj Yudhisthira to rule over them because they were his subjects. The word praja is used both for the progeny and for the citizen, so Kṛṣṇa belonged to the praja, both as a grandson to Maharaj Ugrasena and as a member of the Yadu dynasty. He voluntarily accepted the rule of Maharaj Ugrasen. He informed Ugrasen, being cursed by the Yayati, the kings of the Yadu dynasty will not rise against the throne. It will be our pleasure to serve you as your servants. Our full cooperation with you will make your position more exalted and secure, so that the kings of other dynasties will not hesitate to pay their respective revenues. Protected by us, you will be honored even by the demigods from the heavenly planets. My dear grandfather, out of fear of my late uncle Kamsa, all the kings belonging to the Yadu dynasty, Vishnu dynasty, Andhika dynasty, Madhu dynasty, Dashar dynasty, and Kakur dynasty were very anxious and disturbed. Now you can pacify them all and give them assurance of security. The whole kingdom will be peaceful. All the kings in the neighboring area had left their homes in fear of Kamsa and were living in different parts of the country. Now, after the death of Kamsa and the reinstatement of Ugrasen as king, the neighboring kings were given all kinds of presentations and comforts. Then they returned to their respective homes. After this nice political arrangement, the citizens of Mathura were pleased to live in Mathura, being protected by the strong arms of Kṛṣṇa and Balaram. On account of good government, in the presence of Kṛṣṇa and Balaram, the inhabitants of Mathura felt complete satisfaction in the fulfillment of all their material desires and necessities. And because they saw Kṛṣṇa and Balaram daily, eye to eye, they soon forgot all material miseries completely. As soon as they saw Kṛṣṇa and Balaram coming out on the street, very nicely dressed and smiling and looking here and there, the citizens were immediately filled with loving ecstasies simply by seeing the personal presence of Mukunda. Mukunda refers to one who can award liberation and transcendental bliss. Krishna's presence acted as such a vitalizing tonic that not only the younger generation, but even the old men of Mathura became fully invigorated with youthful energy and strength by regularly seeing him. So they're talking here about seeing Kṛṣṇa. But Kṛṣṇa is now incarnated in sound. So even the old men can become fully invigorated with youthful energy and strength by regularly chanting his name. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa keeps making his presence more and more known. The world will transform. Hare Kṛṣṇa. People will become peaceful. And the government will be governing very nicely. Hare Kṛṣṇa. And it's coming. Everyone's seeing, a lot of people are seeing, doomsday's coming. No, it's not doomsday that's coming. How can doomsday come? Krishna's here. It's not doomsday that's coming. Something's coming. Because they don't know what it is, they're very fearful and superstitious. No, it can't. How can it? Krishna's here. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa.